The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
What's going on, guys? Welcome again to the Backup podcast, another episode here on this beautiful Monday. It's just me today. It's just good old Nate here for you. Brian will be back with us on Wednesday, so I'll be taking you today and also tomorrow as well. Hope you guys are doing well. Hopefully you guys enjoyed another opening weekend of baseball around the league. All 30 teams in participation, of course. A couple games were delayed, as we all know, with the Mets and Brewers and the Phillies and Braves. But other than that, every other team played their series without any delays this past weekend. So hopefully your team did well. We will cover some of the headlines across Major League Baseball. We'll also talk about the NFL a little bit with the Rashee Rice situation. And before we start, a quick rest in peace to Vontae Davis, the cornerback who famously retired mid-game. Reports are, as of right now, saying that he passed away at the age of 35. So condolences to his family if that is true. It looks like it is right now, according to reports. This is not an April Fool's joke or anything like that. No foul play is suspected, according to reports in relations to Davis's death. But as of right now, that is unfortunately the sad news going on in terms of that. So rest in peace to Mr. Davis. But yeah, we'll talk about some NFL stuff. The NBA, quick note, only 8 games left in the season. 8 or 9 games, depending on which team you're rooting for. And then March Madness. We are in the Final Four now, right? Final Four stage. Not a big college basketball guy, but I know my way around a little bit. I know Purdue is into the Final Four, and we know about their upset last season when they lost to FDU, when Purdue was the first seed and FDU was the 16th seed. But as of right now, Purdue is back to the Final Four where they belong. So once again, I appreciate you guys for stopping by, and we'll cover a lot of stuff as we take you for the next about maybe 15, 20 minutes. And we'll go from there. All right. So for those of you out there, Oakland A's fans like myself, and for baseball fans around the league, the A's played their first series of the season against the Cleveland Guardians starting on Thursday. It was a 4-game series with Cleveland. It was exciting in that Cleveland's manager, Stephen Vogt, came back to Oakland, as he retired a couple years ago with the A's, spent last year as part of a management, or on a staff, I should say, on a team. I forgot which team it was. Regardless, he finally landed a manager job with the Guardians this past offseason, and this is his first year managing Cleveland. You know, it was exciting. Most of us, including myself, thought the A's would kind of get off to a better start this season. We know last year they won their first game of the year. I was there. They beat the Angels 2-1 with Kyle Muller on the mound for Oakland. This season is going to be Alex Wood on the mound for Oakland in their first game of the 2024 season. Spoiler alert, didn't really go the way Oakland wanted to. They lost 8-0 in the first game. Alex Wood pitched pretty well in the first inning, created some optimism for fans like myself, but that at the end of the day didn't really work out, and Oakland would end up losing. However, second game, right? You can't play worse than the first game. Second game, they sent Ross Stripling to the mound. Oakland would lose 6-4 still. Stripling had a sort of better outing compared to Wood. Oakland's offense really didn't get anything going, though. That was the main issue for the Athletics. And Mark Kotsay was that the offense couldn't get anything going until like the 4th inning. J.D. Davis hit 2 solo home runs in that game in total. At the end of the day, Oakland would still lose. And now it's like, okay, are things actually going to get worse? Third game of the season, they sent J.P. Sears to the mound. Things did get worse. They lost 12-3 against Cleveland. So now it's like, okay, now we're 0-3 now. There's no way Oakland has any optimism, and the fans didn't have any optimism either. I believe the first game of the season, the crowd attendance was about 13,000, which is really low compared to last year. Last year was almost sold out. Around 30,000 people was in attendance, I should say. And then I think the second game and the third game attendance was like 3,000 to 4,000 people were there, which makes sense because fans are boycotting the whole, John Fisher and his decision to move the team to Vegas, which is likely not going to happen now. We'll talk about that later in just a bit. But you would have to think the A's would eventually win a game in this series. I mean, it would be embarrassing to get swept, especially by, a team managed by one of your own players from 2 years ago. And that was the case on Sunday. Fortunately, now, did they win in the most Oakland way possible? Yes, but a win is a win, right? They did walk off on Sunday thanks to a bases-loaded walk to Abraham Toro. And the Athletics finally got their first win of the season. If you want the game reviews and recaps, you can check out bellyupsports.com. I wrote recaps, and I plan to do so the rest of the season, all 162 games, and we're already down to 148 left in the season. But a few notes about the A's so far this year. They didn't lead at all this season until the third game against Cleveland. In the third inning, they were up 3-2, and that lead vanished in a snap. The first game they actually started a game with the lead instead of trailing was the Sunday's game where they were leading 3-0. Paul Blackburn pitched phenomenal. I mean, this guy went 7 innings. I think he had a perfect game through 4 innings. And it was great. But they pulled him after 7. Mark Kotsay did, I should say, and the bullpen completely just ruined everything and wasted Blackburn's start in a way because he was on his way to his first victory of the season, the first victory for an A's starting pitcher this season. And all of a sudden, things just went downhill. So that bullpen definitely has some work to do. And we'll talk about pitching in just a bit. And I get it, first 4 games of the season, we can't be overreacting to anything like that. But in terms of the offense, it's kind of hard to see who's going to be consistent. You have Brent Rooker. He was last year's starter or all-star starter for the A's, and he's off to a rough start. Or wait. No, the A's had 2 representatives because it was Blackburn and it was Rooker, if I'm not mistaken. Regardless, Rooker, I understand he's a slugger, and that was one of the main concerns is that this is his second full season on a major league squad with the Athletics. Last season had like 30 home runs, and he was hitting like there was no tomorrow. I know it's early, but he is off to a rough start. He is 0 for 8 with 7 strikeouts. That's not really good. So far, the best hitters on the team are guys that we didn't expect. Esther Ruiz, he's a speed guy, mainly a speed guy, but he worked with Ricky Henderson in the offseason, and it's showing. He's batting .429, had 3 hits in the series against Cleveland. He had a triple yesterday against Cleveland. He has an RBI on the year, has a stolen base on the year, so his speed is still there. Is he going to be playing every day? So far, that's not the case because they're mixing a bunch of. It's either him out there at left field. Right now, I thought Ruiz is going to play center field, but JJ Bleday is currently playing center field so far this year. So Ruiz has been either in left field or on the bench to start the game, which is fine. As long as Ruiz is out there in the outfield, I have no complaints because his speed will make an impact on defense, even though he's not the best defender. His speed will make up for it at some point in time. So Ruiz is off to a good start offensively. JD Davis, right? The acquisition who was acquired like not too long ago. He's batting .385, had those 2 solo home runs in the second game of the series against Cleveland. He has 5 hits so far this year, which is, I believe, best on the team, if not mistaken. Nick Allen, a guy who definitely needs to work on his offense after struggling last season. He's off to a good start, batting .308, 2 doubles on the year. Now, he does have 2 errors defensively, which is a bit concerning after he had 9 of them in 2023. So at this rate, he's likely going to pass 9 errors this year. Regardless, though, things can change. things happen, and hopefully Allen stays below the double digits when it comes to those errors. But he does have 4 hits on the year so far, which is pretty good. And then JJ Bleday, this guy was batting under the Mendoza line the past couple seasons. Now he's batting 294. He has made an impact defensively, making a couple big plays out and outfield at center field, including robbing a home run a couple games ago. But he's batting 294, which is good to see. Hopefully he keeps that up. And if he does keep that up, he will be a mainstay in the lineup out there in center field. 2 concerns for me. Like I said, could be an overreaction. It's still early, but Lawrence Butler, this is his first season starting in the major leagues. He was called up last year for a few games or so, but now this is his first, making his first big league roster. But he's batting 167, 4 strikeouts, only 2 hits. That's big concerning. And then Zach Galoff, who came into the league last year around the summertime, and he did pretty well for himself, but he's batting 111. He'd struck out 7 times, just like Rooker, but batting just 111, which is pretty bad, and that needs to be addressed. And maybe it's just a rough start for guys like Rooker and Butler and Geloff. Maybe they'll turn it around tonight against Boston as they take on the Red Sox in Oakland. And like I said, we'll dive into the Boston stuff in just a bit, but hopefully these young guys will just get things going in this new series. It's only 4 games in, and it's a long season ahead, so we shouldn't overreact too much. But at the same time, it is a bit concerning to see guys like Zach Galoff, who hit pretty well last year, and then Brent Rooker, 7 strikeouts, 0 for 8. Not what you want from your slugger, who you could possibly trade before the deadline. Pitching wise, Paul Blackburn, I wasn't even surprised that he went 7 innings and had the performance that he did. He was an all-star for a reason. And despite the fact that he was the 4th pitcher in the rotation behind Alex Wood and Stripling and JP Sears, to me, he's the best pitcher on the team. Why was he the 4th starter? I really don't know. I really do not know. But at the same time, it is just one game, but he did pretty well for himself. I really hope that he got the win yesterday. Unfortunately, the bullpen just crumbled, and that was just disappointing, because if guys like Stripling and Wood and Sears continue, not saying they will, because they likely won't, but I'm just saying if they have these performances on consistently, these bad performances, how can we trust this bullpen to even keep this team in games? Because it's just, for example, Wood, right? He allowed 5 or 6 runs in that opening start. The bullpen can't allow 3 or 4 runs. Like, for example, yesterday, Blackburn went 7 innings, allowed 0 runs. They were up 3-0, and you trust your bullpen to come in to pitch the 8th and the 9th, and they can't even hold it down. Instead, they allowed 3 runs. I think it was Austin Adams and what the other guy was. There's 2 guys yesterday. I can't think of them on the top of my head, but the point is, it was Lucas Irseg and Austin Adams. You trust those 2 guys to lock things down at least, and they couldn't even hold the lead. They allowed 3 runs to come to the plate, and luckily, Denny Jimenez, who I'll get to in just a bit, locked it down in the 9th inning, which allowed the A's to come back in the bottom of the 9th and that bases loaded walk, which I still can't believe. But the bullpen needs to get their stuff together, because outside of Danny Jimenez and Kyle Muller, there's no one else that I trust in that bullpen. And Muller should be a starter. Now, I understand that it's kind of filled up with Stripling and Sears and Wood and Blackburn and tonight's starting pitcher Joe Boyle. Other than that, I think Kyle Muller should be a starter. But keeping the bullpen kind of a long inning reliever, that's fine with me. He should have been the opening day starter. Maybe that's bias from last year, but he should have been the opening day starter. Denny Jimenez, he pitched 2 games so far this year. He's 1-0. He got the win yesterday He pitched 2 1/3 so far this year. Has allowed 2 hits, 2 walks, but no runs, which is pretty good. Mitch Spence, he was the reliever to come in for Alex Wood in that first game of the series. He went 3 innings, which is pretty good. This is his major league debut, by the way. 3 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run allowed, which was pretty good. So I'm looking forward to see more from him as he comes out of the bullpen. Is Mason Miller, who was a starter last year, really going to be a closer? Because he does have the worst ERA on the team right now, but then again, he does have some pretty nasty stuff, especially that fastball is triple digits, 100 miles an hour, right? But I don't know. I just didn't like what I saw from him when he for his first appearance. But I am excited to see Joe Boyle tonight against the Red Sox. He was 2-1 last year. He had an under 2 ERA when he did appear. So I'm excited to see what he will provide or bring to the table tonight at the Coliseum. Hopefully, we'll get more than 3,000 people there. But yeah, just disappointing stuff from the bullpen. But then again, hopefully they get things together for this 3-game series against the Red Sox. And we know about the injuries. Miguel Andujar, I was excited to see him in the outfield. He's going to be out for a while. Scott Alexander was going to be a big part of the bullpen. He's out with a left rib injury, and just a few other guys. Luis Medina, I'm not excited to see him as well, but he's out with a knee injury on the 15-day injured list. So injuries did kind of mess things up for the A's in spring training, heading into the regular season. Hopefully these guys get healthy fast so we can see them, especially Andujar. I'm very excited to see him once he gets healthy. He did play for the Yankees not too long ago, was part of their starting lineup not too long ago as well. So we'll go from there. In terms of the week ahead, we have Joe Boyle will take the mound tonight against the Red Sox against Tanner Roark, and then Alex Wood will make his second appearance tomorrow against Brian Bayo, and then the last game of the series will be Ross Stripling against Nick Pivetta, who I know from his days as a Philadelphia Philly. Before we go to a quick commercial break, our sponsor is SeatGeek. Shout out to them, by the way. Speaking about the Coliseum, big news from there. The city of Oakland is looking to offer the A's a lease extension, so that will keep them in Oakland until they get things figured out with the Las Vegas situation. This deal is 5 years long. They are able to opt out after the third year, which is 2027. If the team does not agree, the city will apparently get to keep the name, the Athletics, and the colors, green and gold, or they will be forced to sell to a new owner, which John Fisher will likely not do because he's selfish. His parents own Gap. He has money and doesn't spend on the team. What does that say about him? You tell me. This deal will help the A's stay in an actual ballpark instead of going to a minor league park that only seats 5,000 people, which, let's be honest, it's their attendance anyways, but you would prefer to stay in the Coliseum where, in the event that things get fixed, or maybe John Fisher makes amends with the fans, maybe more fans will come. Maybe you will see 20,000 people at the games like we used to. But yeah, if the team agrees to this deal, they'll get to stay in the actual ballpark. The TV deal will remain as well with NBC Sports California. The city of Oakland, though, will require the team to pay a $97 million extension fee, according to ESPN report. And the team will meet on Tuesday, so we'll be recording tomorrow. Hopefully, we'll get more updates on that. And then Rob Manfred, the commissioner of MLB, who has kind of been a prick sometimes, to be honest, with this whole Oakland situation, he basically agrees with what John Fisher's doing. But apparently, he has expressed a desire to have the team's interim plans completed by the early summer of this year so they can figure out the whole scheduling stuff. So the deal also includes that the A's will be asked to cover the cost of switching the field to the soccer for the Oakland roots of the United Soccer League. Apparently, the A's will have to share a stadium. Their stadium, I should say. So, and then the city will be asking to sell 50% ownership to a local company to redevelop the location, which is agreed but not finalized, and all the stuff. What's up, Billy? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Doing well. Hope you're doing well yourself. But yeah, props to the Oakland's mayor, Sheng Tao. I mean, she came in not too long ago into office, and she's made a statement. And I'm saying she's done a good job from a sporting perspective. I don't know what she's doing, like government wise and all that, like politics and stuff. But in terms of the A's, keeping them in Oakland, she's done a fantastic job trying to keep them in the city. And it seems like she knows how much the Athletics mean to the city as well. And her passion is clearly there. She's been at multiple boycotts and stuff like that. So shout out to the mayor. Shout out to Oakland for doing this. And hopefully the A's agree to it. And we will discuss what happens on Tuesday. And before we go to the NFL and all that stuff, we will have a quick break from our sponsors at SeatGeek. Ryan from No Credentials Required will tell us why you should use SeatGeek for your next event, sporting, concerts, all that stuff. Ryan, take it away.
Hey everyone, it's Ryan from No Credentials Required to talk to you about one of our newest partners at Belly Up Sports, SeatGeek. Yeah, live sports is great on television, but the feeling of being at the arena is a priceless experience. That's why our friends at SeatGeek are there to help you find the best tickets at the best prices. Not only can you get tickets to sporting events, we can also get tickets to concerts, comedy shows, musicals, and more. Search for your desired event now at SeatGeek.com, enter promo code BellyUpSports at checkout, and you save $20 off your first purchase. SeatGeek. Life's an event. We have the tickets.
All right. Thank you to SeatGeek for sponsoring us. As always, make sure to use the code BellyUp20 for $20 off your first order. Concerts, sporting events, all that stuff. Hopefully I can use SeatGeek one of these days to go back to an A's game. Because if they do stay in Oakland, I don't know. The Coliseum's a vibe, but we talked about that before. Anyways, we'll talk about more baseball at the end of the show, but quickly, I do want to discuss the whole Rashee Rice situation. I believe he's going to be releasing a statement today. If you guys don't know, Rashee Rice, he is in connection to a major accident that happened in Dallas. Police are searching for him in connection to a major accident involving multiple vehicles that occurred in the city on Saturday evening. The vehicle that was involved in the crash was registered to Rice at approximately 6:20 p.m. This crash took place, and apparently this whole incident occurred as a Corvette and a Lamborghini. They were racing. Yeah, smart. Nice job, guys. They were racing in the far left lane of a street, and both drivers lost control of the vehicles. And in total, 6 cars were involved. So the Corvette and Lamborghini, and then there were 4 other vehicles that were part of the collision. Basically, the Lamborghini, according to Dallas police, hit the shoulder, or went onto the shoulder, hit the center median, and then it caused a collision with the 4 other cars. And you would think that, okay, well, what's the point of this? If he's guilty, then he's guilty. Sure, it reminds you of the whole Henry Ruggs situation. If you don't know, Henry Ruggs was a Las Vegas Raider wide receiver, a very promising prospect that unfortunately went over 115 miles per hour in the city, and then he unfortunately caused a major accident that killed a woman and her dog. It was terrible, and now he's in prison for I don't know how long. Point is, when I heard about the situation, it just reminded me of Henry Ruggs. Even though it, luckily, no casualties. It's just that reports were saying that Rice fled the scene, but he wasn't there because images have been released, and I don't have the images in front of me to show you, but that's not Rashee Rice. If you go on X or Twitter or online and look up the accident, that is not him. From what I've read, people are saying that's his friend that just borrowed his car and decided to do this irresponsible stuff. So if that's the case, it's a good thing for Rice. But at the same time, it's just you can't be racing, man. 620, a lot of cars are still on they're still out there. So we'll see what Rice says. I don't think he received or we have any statement from him yet. Checking right now. I don't think I have anything. All we know is that he retained counsel, and that's all we know right now. Yeah, so no statement from me yet, but he has retained counsel for this, so he probably will tell us what's going on. And from a football perspective, from a Chiefs perspective, we hope he's not involved as much, that he wasn't part of that crash. But at the same time, it is a bit serious because the car is registered to his name, so he does have some responsibility. Rice had 79 catches last season for 938 yards and 7 touchdowns, had 26 catches in the postseason, which was a record for rookies, and as he helped the Chiefs win the Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers. But he's just the second Chiefs receiver to cause headlines after what we know about the Kadarius Toney situation. Now, so it's Toney, now him. And like I just mentioned with him and Henry Ruggs, both similar situations, but at the same time, far different because one had casualties, the other did not. And one involved an actual player, whereas the other, more specifically the Rashee Rice thing, it may not have involved him in the first place. So, yeah, it seems like every offseason or before during a bye week, things happen when it comes to players getting arrested or whatever the case may be. Cameron Sutton, right? The corner who was just released from Detroit, he turned himself in yesterday for in terms of allegations for a domestic battery in Florida. So he turned himself in. So we'll see what happens with that. Other than that, yeah, we'll keep an eye on the Rashee Rice situation, and we'll update you guys tomorrow once we get more information on that. Other NFL news: Ezekiel Elliott and the Dallas Cowboys could reunite. Both parties are open to doing so. The Cowboys have a major hole at running back with the departure of Tony Pollard, who heads to Tennessee, or he is in Tennessee now, obviously. The UFL started this past weekend. A punter threw a touchdown pass. Brad Wing, I heard of him from his days with the Giants. He threw a touchdown pass, apparently, for the San Antonio Brahmas. So shout out to them and shout out to the UFL for getting off to a good start. As if you don't know, the UFL is currently run and owned by Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. Cool. And then Matt LaFleur, comments that stood out to me yesterday. He was apparently caught off guard when the Packers added Josh Jacobs and let Aaron Jones go. Quote, there were some other things in play, obviously, with Aaron Jones, and I didn't quite know how everything was going to go. It just happened really fast on that Monday. It happened really fast, so I don't know all the details of that. I'm not involved in those types of situations or conversations. So you're telling me when teams sign players that coaches aren't a part of it? Did Packers ownership forget, or did the Packers front office forget that it matters what the head coach thinks? Yeah. Bit concerning. But at the same time, many of us were confused why the Packers didn't keep Aaron Jones when because you had Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. You could have just resigned him, yet you released those two guys just to bring in Josh Jacobs, who is basically the same person. And Aaron Jones is a fan favorite, so I'm just saying. Anyways, yeah, Packers doing some weird stuff over there. And then, let's see, baseball-wise across the league, the Yankees swept the Astros. They started 4-0 for the first time since 2003. They haven't won a home game, by the way, the Astros have since October 7th. Yeah, that's months ago. The Yankees got the Diamondbacks back. The Yankees have the Diamondbacks next, by the way. Arizona did, as we all know, won the National League last season. They lost to the Rangers in the World Series. So we'll see what the Yankees can keep that record up. The San Francisco Giants, a Young Hoo Lee, his first home run against the Padres. So shout out to Young Hoo Lee, fellow Asian out there. Chicago White Sox are 0-3 to start the year. Mets and Marlins are 0-3 and 0-4 respectively. So they're off to rough starts in the NL East because the Mets got swept by the Brewers. And yeah, the Pirates are 4-0 to start the year. That's pretty impressive. I didn't expect the Pirates to start undefeated like that. Rockies are the Rockies. They're 1-3. Mike Trout, he has to leave, man. This guy hit a home run on opening day. The team lost 11-3. but he goes 0 for 4 on Sunday, and the team wins 4-1. Yeah, so. And then finally, Dodgers Yamamoto. How do you say his name? I don't know, but he, after a rough start in Korea for his first start of the season, he came out pretty good a couple of days ago. Pitched 5 innings, allowed 2 hits, struck out 5 people. The team did lose 6-5 on Saturday, and that will do it. That's all I got for you. We've gone for about half an hour now, and like I said, Brian's gonna be back on Wednesday, but I will be back with you guys tomorrow. Yeah, shout out to SeatGeek for sponsoring us, and shout out to you guys for listening. Currently, all 347 of you. Appreciate you guys stopping live and watching us and watching me and listening to me talk about the A's and the NFL a little bit. We talked about the A's first series of the year against the Cleveland Guardians. We talked about the NFL with the whole Rashee Rice situation. And then we discussed, like I just mentioned quickly, some other NFL and MLB headlines across the league. So we'll see what Brian has to say about his Mets on Wednesday. And yeah, this is draft month. Happy draft month. Whoa, month, not months. Can't even say month, right? With the draft about 26 days, around 3 weeks away. So for mock drafts for your favorite team, I'll be releasing a mock draft for each team up until the day of the draft. Right now, the Chicago Bears are already released, so check that out on bellyupsports.com. You can follow me on X, Twitter at Nathan_Nguyen24. Follow my co-host Brian on X as well at BrianPG1016. Instagram, same username for myself. And then, yeah, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, X, all that stuff. Thank you for watching and listening. And for those of you listening to the audio version of this, I appreciate you guys as well. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and we will see what happens with the whole Rashee Rice situation. Until then, have a great rest of your day. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you. And remember, it's okay to be the starter. There's nothing wrong with being the backup. Just don't ever be the backup to the backup. Have a good one.